Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Coda Stories. This is me, Sneha, and in today's episode, we have Kelly and Carrie joining us from Pittsburgh, which is a city where I live as well. Pittsburgh is a great place for tech, and I'm super excited to welcome Kelly and Carrie today. They are the founders and co-founder of the Landis Consulting firm in Pittsburgh, and I'd love to have Kelly and Carrie talk to us more about what's your story, both of you, and how did Landis Consulting begin to happen?
Awesome. So, I'm Kelly. I'll start with Carrie and I are sisters. So we founded Landis Consulting Group about 5 years ago, well, 4.5, 5, and it's been a great ride. We are a staffing firm, a technology staffing firm. So we provide contract to hire, and permanent placement services in Pittsburgh. And our story is, my background's all in staffing. Carrie's background's all in staffing. I guess it's a family thing. And basically, going back to, you were in New York, right, Carrie, at the time living there, and I had just moved home to Pittsburgh, and I called Carrie and I said, hey, I have this idea. It's kind of crazy, but tell me your thoughts. And long story, fast forward a few years later, I convinced her, I guess, to move home, and we have been in place ever since. We're both from Pittsburgh, born and raised. So Landis is a women-owned business. Carrie, feel free to jump in with, your purview of how it went down.
Yeah, that's very accurate. Kelly handles and leads all of the business development, works directly with the clients and employers, and I get to work with all of the candidates, job seekers, both passive and active. And yeah, it's been great, and glad we were both able to move home and really get this thing started.
That sounds super interesting. How is it working with your own sister?
Great. So far we have not killed each other, which is always a plus. But it really is. It's awesome. It's we push each other. We know how to separate professional scenarios and personal life, and obviously very, very close. And I couldn't be happier to be doing this with my sister.
That's very nice.
Awesome. We still hang out together on Christmas. We still
you still do all that. That's great. That's still going on. I cannot imagine working with my sister. I know how that's going to be. I should try sometime.
Yeah. My mom always talks about how she never would have been able to predict this when we were kids.
Yeah.
Cool. So Carrie, I know that you're a member of Red Chair Pittsburgh. I love the mission of Red Chair Pittsburgh. They work so well towards, reducing the gender gap and trying to get mid-career women into, higher and higher in their careers. So it's amazing. And I'd love to know from your perspective on what got you drawn towards their mission, and tell us more about Red Chair PGH and what to expect in the coming months from Red Chair PGH.
Yeah. Oh my God. Red Chair is a great organization. It's a completely volunteer-led organization, and everybody, the mission, everybody is passionate about creating gender equality for women in technology professions in Pittsburgh. So it's awesome. And the fact that it's all volunteer-led, the people that are running all this, they're truly passionate about what they're doing and creating that gender balance. There's lots of different ways to get involved. They have a flagship event every year. This year's past event was, it was the 6th annual event, and it was called Necessary Inclusion. So it was all virtual, and it was pretty cool because the annual event, we're bringing in hundreds of people every year. And this one opened it up to the whole country, right? So it was really, really neat. So there's always that one event that's the big one. But then they offer sponsorships, opportunities to find mentors. They have collaborations with like the Pittsburgh Tech Council and Edge. So there's different opportunities there to win scholarships, get coaching sessions. So there's a lot of different ways to get involved. And you can just start with, finding their LinkedIn page, finding their website. I think there's even something where it says, hey, this is how you get involved, click here, and you take it from there. But anybody could always reach out to me or anybody in the group. I'm sure people would be happy to help navigate that.
Yeah, for sure. I've always found people in the Red Chair community very helpful, and a lot of mentors as well. And a lot of people freely give a lot of advice. So it's an amazing community. And for anyone who's around Pittsburgh, if you're a woman in tech and if you want some mentorship, just go check out Red Chair. They're amazing.
Yeah. One thing that's really cool, so a lot of men get involved, and it's beautiful, right? Because it's So, and we need that. It needs to be both. It needs to be a balance of both. So it's a cool community.
They're great allies. Yeah, that's right. So, and how's the Pittsburgh community in general, like Pittsburgh, the tech community in general? What are the different events that happen, and what are the different places that people go to meet like-minded folks?
Do you want to take that one, Carrie?
Oh, sure. Sorry. I have kids upstairs in the background and they're losing it, so I thought you could hear it.
Never fails.
Oh my gosh. So the community in Pittsburgh, the tech community is phenomenal. Kelly and I have both been able to get involved in a lot of different like organizations, go to different job fairs, partner with a lot of different colleges to work with people from an entry level standpoint that are, looking to get their foot into just the IT world in general. So that's been great. We do a lot of partnerships with like Penn State. One really cool offering, I don't know if you've ever heard of Tech Elevator. It is awesome. So Kelly and I both have partnered with them. It's a lot of people like mid-level career that decide that they want to get involved into IT. So it's a 14-week boot camp where it could be any background that they have. None of them are really coming from anything IT related, and they get into either .NET or Java programming. So we partner with them and help with like mock interviews and get them prepared to like really like just get involved in the tech world in Pittsburgh, and they get placed at companies all throughout Pittsburgh. They're all partnered with it as well. So that's been great. Yeah. What else do we do to get involved in the tech community, Cal?
Well, I mean, there's so many great meetups. I mean, Build 412 Tech's pretty cool. Obviously, Red Chair, PWA, Pittsburgh Women's Association.
Pitt Tech Council.
Oh gosh, yes, the Pitt Tech Council. That's a huge community of all organizations and people, and so as far as just getting involved, that's a great place to start right there. We've been members there since day one.
That's nice. And during the pandemic, how are these events still happening, and have they gone virtual? Like, what's happening around that space?
Yes, great question, because they have all gone virtual, right? Such as life. So it's been really neat to kind of be helping with building out a lot of these programs, and it's been a learning experience for everybody, right? But it opens the door. So these virtual events, I mean, you can invite so many people, and people that might not have been able to be there because of childcare or whatever constraints you might have. I mean, it's much more easier to get involved and to join whenever they're virtual. So there's just a lot of beauty there.
That's right. Yeah, totally. And talking about the virtual environment and the pandemic, how has hiring changed in the pandemic's environment? And how competitive has the market become now that people are open to people from anywhere in the world, since they're all going to be working remote?
I think it's definitely become more competitive. It's just the ability for people to work fully remote has truly opened up the candidate pool for positions to really work anywhere throughout the US or even the world, to be honest. So I think that has opened it up. It's been great for the employees and employers. I think we're going to have to see a big change coming with companies once we do get back to whatever normal that we're going to get back to when people are getting back on site. A lot of people and candidates specifically that I'm speaking with, their requirement is going to now be that they need some sort of hybrid remote option because they're really getting used to working from home and enjoying it. So I've definitely seen that coming through. I don't know, Kelly, anything else to add, just like with even from like a client perspective as far as competition goes?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, what's and going back to another nice thing that's come out of all of this, companies that are taking advantage of the opportunity to open up their talent pool to sitting anywhere in the world is, it's great. So where you used to have this geographic, concentration, you can really tap into some great talent that might be a few hours away even, and that stuff really, it's huge. So I think that it's definitely something that employers can take advantage of. And also, personally with Pittsburgh, like we also want to make sure that we're taking care of here and bringing people in, and because it is going to turn into a lot of not all 100% remote always. We still need to have some human connection, right?
That's right.
It'll be this hybrid world, I'm sure.
Yeah. And with a hybrid world, how do you like what are some changes that you think may happen when companies start opening up with regards to work culture, flexibility and all those things?
Well, with, employers, I mean, from a job candidate perspective, a job seeker perspective,
Mm-hmm.
they really care about having that flexibility, maybe even more so now than they did before, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they care about having flexibility. They care about empathy. They want to work for an employer that's leads with empathy, that shows that they care about their people. They want to make sure their organizations that they are working for have, a purpose. They care about the culture. So you want to make sure if you're the employer, that you're factoring that into what you do, into your culture, into your values, into the way that you operate, because it all trickles down, and it's a big deal for when you're a job seeker and you're picking, because a lot of times in tech you have that option. If you want a skill set that's in demand, you want to make sure you're working for a company that you care about.
Right.
So.
Well, and I
Yeah.
think too, just when everything shut down and people had to work with their kids at home, and just not having childcare, and even if you don't have kids, just like having to take care of your parents, whatever it may be, like so many things became a priority for people that we never knew
We never acknowledged or really prioritized, maybe.
That I think
No,
that's
yeah.
going to help too, with the just flexibility and realizing like everybody can still be a person and like be, close with their family, kid, whatever they need to do, but also still get the job done.
That's right. You can actually have a personal life and have a professional life at the same time. That's right.
And you can actually still get work done from working from home, which is huge for a lot of organizations that maybe felt like everybody had to be on site every day together as a team. And don't get me wrong, there is a lot of value there. But there's also a lot to be said about the productivity that you can have on days from home. And, you're not dealing with the commute, you're not dealing with the drive and all those other factors that, you don't, I don't know about you guys, but I've realized a lot how much time that was taking up in my everyday, right? So.
Yeah, the commute time especially has gone down, and that is extra time that we get to maybe sleep in or eat or exercise or spend time with family. So
Right.
there's just productivity has shot up so high ever since people have started working from home. But one negative thing I would say is sometimes I do feel like I'm always working because my desk is right here and my computer is right here, and I just don't have anything else to do while my desk is here. So
Right.
I feel like I'm just forever working. But
right. I'm so glad you brought that up because it's true, right? And that's
It
something that a lot of people are struggling with.
Mhm.
So, now that we're kind of where we are today, I think it's really important to acknowledge that, like you just did, and figure out what you need to do to kind of take yourself out of that space whenever you're not working, and make boundaries and understand, during this time I'm doing X, Y, whatever is going to work for you. And I think that's the most important part of it.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. And I think another thing is the Zoom fatigue, especially because
It is real.
yeah, especially
it
because all of the events and even people communication, like meeting up with family, has now become a Zoom thing or a Google Meet thing. So there's just a lot of Zoom fatigue, and as long as we figure out some ways to reduce those things, I feel like remote working is just going to be so great.
Yes. Yeah. And there's a happy medium that, once as the dust continues to settle, hopefully we all find that space. And
yeah. So talking about while we are in this topic, so employers are going to have a lot of candidates to choose from, and candidates are going to have a lot of companies to choose from. So the competition is both ways, right? There's a lot of opportunities available. What are some things that candidates can do to stand out from the crowd and kind of build a personal brand and things like that?
Yeah. Yes. Personal online branding, right? I mean, it's probably more important now than it had even been before. So, I guess there's some like simple, like tactical steps you can take whenever you're in that scenario and you're on a job search. First, like check yourself online, Google yourself, just see what comes up. Make sure you're good with whatever it's conveying, and just kind of start there.
Right.
And then from that point on, you really want to make sure there's consistency. You want to make sure that you are conveying who you are, what you bring to the table, what your strengths are, and what you're looking to do. So it's, streamlining that, getting, maybe consistent pictures across LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it might be. This is what your job title is. This is what you are great at. This is what you're looking to do and what you aspire to do. And you're making sure you're putting it out there because people check, people look, that's what we have, what we have out there. It's a great opportunity though.
I think that's a great point you bring up too. Like something is like just little tweaks to be very aware of. Like if you're having specific dates or titles, like Kelly mentioned on your resume, that needs to completely match what's on your LinkedIn, because one of the first things all of our clients do is when we're sending over a resume, they're looking at their LinkedIn, they're looking at their Facebook, they're looking at all different social platforms. So, and where like catch that, even if it's an honest mistake, it's just something to be aware of and watch for, just to make sure like everything's straight across the board.
Yeah, the consistency. You're right, and that and think of your online branding too. I mean, there's always been a lot of emphasis on your resume, but your online presence is at this point just as important, for sure. Actually, maybe even more in a lot of cases. So it's definitely a big consideration whenever you're getting started and throughout your career. And you want to be authentic. That's one thing I want to make sure to mention too. You want to be authentic. Make sure it's okay to let your personality come through. And it's so don't feel like you have to pretend you're somebody else. It's the most important part that you're conveying.
Very true.
That's a great point. And I also feel like, previously people used to use only LinkedIn to kind of talk about their professional accomplishments. And there are so many other social media apps like Instagram, and now there's Clubhouse and there's Twitter that you could start leveraging to actually show your brand and, talk about the things that matter to you. So yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunities out there to really convey your authentic self, like you mentioned, because I think that really matters. Because when you hire someone, in my opinion, it's not just their job title that you look at. You want to know what kind of a person they are, like how are they going to be as teammates, and what are their interests like, and you want to kind of holistically understand that person to see if they're a good culture fit for the company.
Yes.
So yeah, I think there's a lot of things that people can take advantage of now that everything is gone online, right?
So true.
Yeah. So yeah, this was awesome. Is there any parting thoughts that you'd like to convey to our audience?
Well, let's see. If you are a woman, boy, whatever it is, if you live in tech, or if you live in Pittsburgh and you're in tech, I mean, you're in a good place, I think. So seek people that can help you. There's a lot of different resources. There's a lot of different people, but network. It's those relationships. You might have this conversation one day and it might turn into something that is really big down the road. So, I mean, I can't stress enough, just meet as many people as you can, or find mentors, seek advice, seek guidance, just talk to people and build relationships. It's huge.
Carrie, do you have any final thoughts?
No, I mean, Kelly hit the nail on the head. Really did. The relationship building piece in Pittsburgh is so important. Just coming from New York, New Jersey, working in, different areas, and then coming here, we say even like with the competition being crazy, but the first thing that comes out of everybody's mouth that we work with is we want to hire somebody local. Like it's not, that they want to help the city grow. So I 100% agree with Kelly.
It's such a great time to be in Pittsburgh too. I mean, it's growing. We're this tech hub now, right? We really are. And Amazon, Facebook, Microsoft, Google, Uber. I mean, there's so many cool tech companies that have come in. We're robotics, RoboBurg, I think is the name that they're referring to. So there's just so many cool, awesome things coming out of the city, and it's a cool place for people to be. And it's easier to attract good talent too and get people to stay here.
Yeah. Can we just talk a little bit more about the advantages of living in Pittsburgh and working in tech, Kelly and Carrie? I'd love to know more about that, since you're from Pittsburgh and you know so much about the tech community here. Just want to know, what are some of the pros of living in Pittsburgh? What are some things that you'd say to people to attract them to come and work in Pittsburgh?
Well, the cost of living is phenomenal.
That is true.
That's one thing.
You go first.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that. I mean, aside from the cost of living, one thing the relationship piece is huge. You can live outside of the city if you're not interested in, living downtown. There's tons of great areas to go. it's, you know, we don't have necessarily the best infrastructure for traveling in and out, but it's doable. So that's always a big plus.
Yeah.
What else? No.
Yeah, it's, I mean, basically, it's just a cool place to live, right? I mean, I lived in Philly for about 10 years and I came back. So I guess I'm like a boomerang or whatever they call us. And it was incredible to see how the city had changed during that time period from whenever I was a kid growing up to kind of where it's at today and just where it's even gone in the last 7 years. So there's a lot of what made Pittsburgh great to begin with, just such strong, hardworking, loyal people and that are very relationship driven. So that all still exists. But with that, there's, you know, we reinvented ourselves, right? You know, we're a Renaissance city. You know, we used to be this steel town, and now we are a tech community with lots of cool organizations. And there's a lot of startup communities that really make it, you know, just innovative here. And it's really, it's a great place to be if you're in that world. And we have all of this talent that already resides here because of CMU and the universities. So there's just, you know, the opportunity is only growing. It's cool to be a part of it. It's cool to see where it's come, and it's really exciting to think about where it's going.
I completely agree. There's so many startups coming up from CMU and University of Pittsburgh, and there's so many incubators where you see a lot of people working, and there are so many like courses, like startup courses and entrepreneurship courses that's going on because of the universities that's around here, that it's super interesting. And I think it's just a cool place to live in, because even like the cool coffee shops, and if you go to the Strip District and the South Side, there's so many nice places to hang out and lots of tasty food to eat and taste as well.
There's all that stuff too, right? We're foodies. It's a foodie's dream. There's so many cool.
Yeah, and the city as such is also such a beautiful city. It's like a city of bridges, so many bridges around, which initially, so I think too much detail for a public YouTube. I'll talk to you later about that. But
there are so many bridges. Love it.
Yeah, but yeah, this is amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today. And for those of you who are watching this, if you like this episode, give it a thumbs up, like it, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. It's completely free, and you will get notifications when we upload our weekly videos. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. You're amazing.
Thank you.
Have a good one.